Aloha, Kyle and Drew. This is Jason from Hawaii. I just want to wish you guys and your families and to all the listeners a Merry Christmas or a Mele Kalikimaka and a Happy New Year. A Hole Maka Hiki Ho. Until next year, see ya!
Thank you for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. This is Kyle and Drew with your sneak peek at next week, episode number 488 for comics originally releasing on the last week of the year, December 26th, 2018. But before Drew and I get into what's coming out in your local comic book shops this coming Wednesday, Drew, I missed last week. I had a bunch of children running around my house, and there was just no way to podcast that evening, so I apologize for missing. So we've got all kinds of things to catch up on this last week of the year.
Yeah, it is. This is the last release week, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
So I've got to try to remember to say 2019 next week.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Where did
Yeah.
the time go? Yeah. Did we get any reviews?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to say. Yes. Let's see here. We did. We got yet another review. You guys have been awesome to us. We have been asking you guys to review us on iTunes or whatever platform you are able to do. We asked for a bunch of those by the end of the year. You guys have blown out the goals that we set. So we are going to continue to read these through the end of the year, and we are going to ship out some rewards for some of you wonderful people that have said such kind things and given us such wonderful reviews here at the end of the year. So this one is a 5-star review from Ragged Joe. No, I was right the first time. Raggedy Joe. He said, been listening since Drew left the weekly comic books podcast, and since I liked a lot of the things he liked, I started to listen to this, even though I have never sold comics or really even plan to. But the duo of Kyle and Drew make it fun to listen for a while I work. For informative and just great, although a little rough when Drew is without a buddy.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you, Raggedy Joe, for that wonderful review. We appreciate that very much. Speaking of the comic book page, my old co-host over there, John Mayo, is asking some questions for his January spotlight show where listeners send in clips. And I thought I would ask those questions to you, Kyle, and
All
get
right.
your input on that. And it's all about comic collecting, because a lot of people are cutting back, it seems, and he's interested in what other people's habits are in their comic book reading. So, first question is, how do you pick what you get to read?
A lot of it is just what sounds really interesting or really original to me. So that is a lot of how I pick like new books to jump on too. Is I do look through the previews. I do look for interesting things. I do have certain, of course, you know me. I have certain artists and writers that I'll gravitate towards. But if there's a good hook to it, I will usually venture out if it's something that scratches an itch I already like.
That's cool. And then, of course, you have Nightwing.
And then, of course, if my boy Richie is in there.
What's your limiting factor? Is it money, time, interest, space?
It should be all of those things, but unfortunately, I haven't been looking at space. But I am just covered in books at the moment. Time. I don't have time to read as many books as I would like to read. So a lot of times when I'm looking through a previews, I've been like, this one isn't worth my time, or this one isn't worth the extra, because I know I just have a stack of things I really already know I like that I'm not always getting to, that sometimes jumping on something new, time is just too big of a factor.
So the interest is there, and you just don't have the time to do it.
Correct.
Gotcha. How would you define or describe your comic collecting?
It is unorganized at the moment. I do have my niches that I go for. I still have my long runs of my ongoing Walking Dead series and my Saga series, and my continuation of Nightwing and the Teen Titans thing. So I still continue to have my babies that are just kind of near and dear to me that I continue to get through, but I bounce back and forth. My loyalties are nowhere where they used to be, Whereas usually, like, even in the New 52, if I started a series, I would just kind of keep it regardless. But now I'm way more willing to drop a series. But if you look through my collection, there's a lot of, three-of-a-kind issues of certain things. I like to make a leap at something 3 books at a time. Normally, a lot of things that went through essentially just the first 6 issues, the first arc, if you will, and then I quit on, but all over the place as far as publishers.
Gotcha. What sort of criteria gets something off your reading list?
Price. I don't like these $9 books, $10 books, $6 books, $5 books. You know me. I'm much less likely to jump onto a book if it's for the first issue is $5. I don't like that. So it really does. Sometimes I just move right along on it. Another thing is, if you inadvertently take a 6-month hiatus between book 3 and 4, I'm gone. You got to have story momentum in that early, so that will knock me off every single time. And then, sometimes it's just the art starts to bother me, and I'll just quit a title.
Gotcha. How do you maintain, store, and organize your collection?
Short boxes, all short boxes. I built myself a nice wood shelf that holds 20 short boxes, and then I can actually stash long boxes behind each one on those shelves. That's bulk books in the long boxes behind, and then for the most part, everything is by publisher, alphabetical.
Everything, Kyle?
Hypothetically, the stuff that's on my shelf is like that. Right now, the unfortunate thing is the processing boxes of things that I've yet to go back through.
Yeah, fantastic. Ultimately, that's how you would maintain and store and organize your complete collection.
If you go into my extra room, it has the comic shelves. Those are actually all perfectly organized.
Nice.
It's in my cave here that where it starts to become meticulously disheveled.
That's really cool. Really cool. Now, my limiting factor is also time.
Yeah.
I have lots of interests in lots and lots of comics, more so than I have time to read. So it's really money's not really a problem. Not that I'm independently wealthy, but because I'm a podcaster, I get review copies and review PDFs of pretty much every indie comic out there. So, like everything from beyond, not the big two. I don't get Marvel and DC previews copies very often. Occasionally I do, but not very often. But everything from Image on in previews, I pretty much get a review copy of, or can. Mm-hmm. So I read 100% digitally. So, those I read on my iPad, and I can read any of those that strike my fancy. I just run out of time between one week to the next, and then the new books are out. So then I kind of stop. So I read all the stuff that is really cool and that I really want to read, or that I've historically read, and then move on from there. I describe my comic collecting as, I want to sell my comics. I don't want to keep my physical comics that I buy. So I like to read them. I like to read them digitally, and I still buy print stuff, but I really ideally would like to, and I kind of do this, I maintain a separate from like the household money that my wife and I share. I have a slush fund, a comic book slush fund that is perpetuated by selling comics, and that's where my comic book sales money goes, and that's where the money to buy comics comes from. So it kind of stays away from like my regular money. And that ideally I'd like to, that would be cool if it continued to grow. But that is continuing to dwindle because I'm not selling as much as I'm bringing in. Mm-hmm. So, but it still has more money in it than I have coming out. So it hasn't ever got to the point where I have to cut into my regular household money. So that's kind of the plan. Is my comic collection pays for itself perpetually. I don't know if that can if that can last forever. So at some point I have to decide, what do I do? Do I start, not paying the light bill so I can buy comics? I don't know. That'd be kind of crazy. But yeah, I love to read comics. I don't like to keep comics. I don't like the space they take up. And I no longer enjoy the collating and organizing and, putting them in the numerical order and coveting the full runs like I used to. I don't care about that anymore. So I do still like to have books, and I have a small curated collection of comics that I have had personalized and signed to me by the creators that I like. So, they signed them to Drew, and I have those on my wall, and those I will keep forever. Everything else is off. It can be sold, and on eBay or at a yard sale or a flea market or a con or something like that. So, I don't have the connection to those comics anymore like I used to.
Yeah, the more books I get, the less attached I am to anything I have.
Yeah. Kind of, because you get more books, you're like, I don't want these in my house anymore. So, I can't just, I will run out of space soon. So, I'll skip to the maintaining, storing, and organizing. I currently, originally had it organized like you do. It's all in short boxes. I have very few long boxes left, because I like to be able to lift short boxes a little easier. Mm-hmm. And I do by publisher, art, title, and numerically. But what I'm moving towards is I'm going to be organizing them by price. So I will be pulling out my high-priced books and have those in a section, and then they will be organized by probably just alphabetically. And then I will have like $20 books, $10 books, $5 books, dollar books, and so that I can organize them that way, so that when I want to go to a con, they're already ready to go and priced and ready, and I can just grab them and go. So that's the way I'm going forward. That's the way I'm going to be organizing my collection, which is a little different than most people, but kind of like a comic book shop does, in some of their areas. For something to get on my reading list or off my reading list, to get on my reading list, it's word of mouth. If it's not something that I've always read Batman, I've always read Spider-Man, so those are kind of my favorite characters that I will always read their books. And then I have niche characters that I really like Moon Knight, that every time they make an attempt at a volume, I will be there, one of the tens of thousands well, just maybe single digit thousands that are reading it by the time it's over. But then I just kind of like, if I hear that something's good, like we heard Thanos was really good, and I checked that out. I wouldn't normally read something like that, but we heard it was great. I started reading it and loved it. And so it doesn't take much prodding for me to sample something. And then if it hooks me, then it's on my reading list. I used to have a longer leash for stuff to get off my reading list. So I would read something, and if it wasn't very good, I'd say, well, let me give it an arc, so a trade's worth, so 6 issues, to see if it hooks me. I don't do that anymore. If a couple of issues are bad, I just assume I'll check back later when they get through whatever they're doing that's not working for me. And, unless it's a Batman or a Spider-Man who I stick through the highs and lows with. But Some of the other characters I won't. Some of the other, especially superhero comics, if they're boring, I'm bouncing, and I might check back later if word of mouth has said it's better, and people are enjoying it again. As far as Image, I read a lot of Image, so it's one of my kind of gateway publishers. Got me back into comics was with Walking Dead, so I've read a ton of Image. Pretty much every number one that comes out, I read. I do read every number one that comes out, and then I usually stick with a lot of them. So I was all in on Image for a while, but now I read a half to 75% of their books. Then when it comes to some of the other publishers, it's just basically sampling number ones that appeal to me, and if they stick, they stick, and until they don't. And I'll read them until I'm not enjoying them anymore, and then I'll move on to something else. So it's just kind of whims and how I feel about a thing at a certain time. So those are our answers for Comics for Fun and Profit. It's a fun time. If you want to answer those questions and get on John's show, you can go over to the comicbookpage.com website and go to his forum and fill out those questions yourself, or answer those questions yourself in a clip. And all the information you need to do so is over there. So I think it's interesting to hear how different comic collectors collect and how they do their thing. So check that out if you are so inclined. I thought that was fun.
Absolutely, those are cool questions.
Yeah. I know we skipped last week, but we don't want to leave the numbers. The Comic-Con numbers are updated, and if you can recall, 2 weeks ago, Kyle, you said November would only have 2.
That was so long ago. I can't confirm.
Well, let me remind you.
Confirm. Nor
I'll go ahead and remind
any
you.
Aspect of that story.
You said only 2. You said only 2. I said 4 and then hedged my bet.
You went back to 3.
I went back to 3, but my first instinct was 4.
But you went back to 3.
But I went back to 3 because I'm gutless and spineless. So it was 4. The top 4 books were all over 100,000. Uncanny X-Men, 176.
Jeez.
I can't remember what we said.
We said for an $8 book. I said I eventually crept up to 150, but I was originally even lower than that.
So I might have got 175 then. I might have said 175.
Maybe.
I was higher than you.
You were.
Yeah. And then Green Lantern.
I said 120. It was 113. So I'll take. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 113. Web of Venom, Carnage Born did 104,000, and Amazing Spider-Man number 10 did 103,000.
Yeah, 103,000 up from the 85,000 for issue 9, which is down at rank 7. So that one is 21% up.
Yeah, and that was that the one that had the J. Scott Campbell?
Yeah.
Right? Is that what we decided?
Yeah.
Then our 2 Batmans, 58 and 59, were at 94,900 and 93,000. So down. Right?
I'm trending down.
And are we concerned about Batman?
No.
No.
I mean, right now, not a lot's going on, and it's still at the 90,000. If they get a good storyline, it'll pop up 100.
Well, maybe somebody could get married.
Hey, that's a great idea. They should try that. People love weddings.
You mentioned Amazing Spider-Man 9 was at 85,000. Heroes in Crisis, 3rd issue is at 83,000. That continues to drop. I don't think people are enjoying that as much as they would have hoped. I don't mind it, but others are not enjoying that. Avengers 10 is in the 9th slot at 77,000.
Up
and then
19,530 issues from.
And I'm not reading
9.
that. I'm not reading that book. I might have to check that out. Venom 8 is at 74,000, and right behind it at 11 is Justice League 11 at 74,000 as well, just a couple of hundred below that. as we scroll down the list, any numbers jumping out at you that are interesting? I see Walking Dead there at 58,000 for its issue 185.
Standard attrition for Uncanny issue 2 down at rank 15, a 65% drop, dropping to 62,000 on its second issue within the same month.
Yeah, that's a little more than standard, but we would expect that with all those variants in a 1 in 1,000 in the mix there. Definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
The first issue of Marvel Knights anniversary miniseries.
I thought that would be higher. That's way lower than I thought that would be.
Yeah, that is a little disappointing at only 52,000. I thought that would do a little better. And Spider-Geddon, for as much fun as I'm having reading it, and I just finished the series, and it was a lot of fun. But it's at 50,000, so it's not doing as well as Spider-Verse, right? Spider-Verse was doing much better than this, I think.
Yes.
Can't go back to the well too many times, I guess.
And of course, we jumped by Firefly at rank 22 from Boom Studios at 51,000. A big win for Boom.
That is good, and that. Yeah. I don't know if that's because of variant shenanigans as much as reader interest.
Yeah.
I don't understand how the appeal of Firefly. I mean, it was an okay show, but man, how long ago was it?
It was a while. Long while. Decade.
Yeah.
Cosmic Ghost Rider, I believe 5 was the last issue, trending upwards a bit from 4 to 5, ending at just under 50,000.
Yeah, that's still solid. Mr. Miracle finished its run, issue 12, and did 38,000. So I think, I mean, that's respectable. I think that's as good as Venom ever did from a sales standpoint, but I don't think it's the critical darling that Venom was.
Yeah.
People are split.
Yep. At rank 45, we have Ironheart #1 coming out at a $5 book at 40,000. Standard Marvel attrition will mean that will be under 20 next month probably, and dead before June.
Yeah. We have Aftershock did a first issue for Dead Kings, and it sold 1,291 copies.
Wow, you jumped way down there.
Oh, maybe that's reorder activity. I'm having trouble reading this. Yeah, it was on sale in October, so that's reorder activity. That's not as bad.
Just take everything that Drew said and just
ignore it.
Just never mind.
Just ignore it. But yeah, I'm now alphabetical by publisher, so I'm just checking out.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm hopping along from publisher to publisher. I wanted to take a look at Antarctic Press. Punchlines first issue 1,497. The second issue of Rags 1,255. The first issue of Star's End from Antarctic did 539 copies. Why We Saw a Spike. Very rare. The second issue of William the Last from them, 464 copies. So it's a fine line between scarcity and no interest, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm not understanding. If the interest isn't there in the comic, why does the low print run then generate interest in a comic that people weren't interested in enough to order? Mm-hmm. I mean, at this low of a level, I've never really figured that out because we'll see an Image book launch, at 3,000 or 4,000, which is way more interest than that, but it won't have the scarcity. It won't have the secondary market. I don't know. I guess if there was a perfect formula, we'd make a lot more money.
And there'd be no need for us.
Yes. Archie's 700th issue, which I thought would be a bigger deal, did 19,000.
Bitterroot by Image Comics 18,662. And Middle West from Image Comics, 20,803.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Some of the Black Mask books, Come Into Me is a pretty good book, 1,800 copies. The second issue of Sex, Death, Revolution did 1,600. Devil Within, second issue, did 1,400. Black AF, Widows and Orphans, its fourth issue did 1,200. And it's Kim and Kim, its fourth issue did 1,000. Not getting the double digits with the Black Mask books, are we?
Yeah.
There's Annie Bonny, the Blue Juice comic that I don't know if you were into that one, but the one before.
I was, but it took like a year to get the third issue out, and it lost me.
Well, the book before that, was that the Regulators or no? Is that what it's called?
Something like that, yeah. Accelerators.
Something like Accelerators, yeah. Which you were a little more you enjoyed a lot more, and then Annie Bonny came out. It was both the Blue Juice guys, which you like those guys.
Yeah, and then Gavin Smith was at that comic book convention in Ohio that we were at, and he was real nice to talk to, so I got him to sign and do some stuff with some books there too. Yeah.
Well, its eighth issue of Annie Bonny did 619 copies.
Blah.
Yeah, not really strong enough, probably for them to keep it going, which is a bummer. Looking and seeing if how the Black Hammer books are doing. Well, Stranger Things is on its third issue, and it's still doing almost 28,000 copies, which is pretty strong. Black Hammer's seventh issue is down to 10,500. It deserves a little better. It's a bummer. But it's also kind of diluting its brand with all these spin-offs. Quantum Age from the World of Black Hammer, its fourth issue is at 8,000. That first issue of God of War that I believe was, if it wasn't a pick of the week, it was at least recommended as a give it a look.
Yep.
And its first issue did about 8,000, which might have some value for you.
There you go.
Olivia Twist's third issue is only 1,600.
Bubba Hotep and the Cosmic Bloodsuckers from IDW was 22 weeks late on its fourth issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not good.
No.
Looks like some of the Jinx World titles not catching on. United States versus Murder, Inc., 8,000 copies for its third issue. I get in the DC stuff. When I get low in the DC stuff, I can't tell the difference between reorder and regular books, except it's impossibly small, so it has to be reorder. Kirkman's got the number 1 and number 2 best-selling Image book with Oblivion Song at number 9. It's sold almost 24,000 copies. But then it just kind of a fall off after that. Everything's under 20,000 after Spawn and Middle West.
Did your Hey Kids comics, did that end at 4?
No, it ends at 5.
Ends at 5, okay.
Yeah.
So right now with issue 4, there's only 3,300 copies.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. It was really fun the way it ended. I enjoyed it a lot. Don't know if I ordered that last issue though. I don't know if I ordered any more than that first issue. I have to check. And physical copies. Murder Falcon. Is that the reprint, or is that
That's a reorder.
It can't be. It's interesting. Yeah, Marvel's just got a lot of comics that seem to be healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Those middle of the road comics that are all higher 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. A lot more of them. Reorder activity on Moon Knight 200 at 1719. I didn't check and see if that was a different cover. Missed the boat on that.
Yeah, I don't know. There was Rags. I just passed it. There we go. Yeah, Rags number 2. Less copies than number 1. 1255. 30% down. So
Yeah, I think the orders were probably both placed
yeah.
before that first issue came out, and then the feeding frenzy happened. That would be my guess.
Yeah,
there wasn't a, and I don't think they're FOC, so you can't.
Yeah, that's
You couldn't
right.
even make an FOC
The boat was
adjustment.
just missed on those ones.
Yeah.
What was that other book from Antarctic?
Punchline.
That was the Punchline. That's right.
That's pretty much all I saw in here that was of interest to me. Is there anything else that you wanted to take a gander at?
No, that's about it for me.
All right. Well, let's take a quick look at Free Comic Book Day announcement. All 51 books have been announced, and I wanted to just kind of scooch down and see if there was anything that jumped out as something that might be, you want to go out and get a couple of copies of this from your local comic shop, or you just might want to grab one and read it.
There you go. First thing that jumps out to me is the Stranger Things and Black Hammer.
Oh, okay.
Just a really cool Stranger Things cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really nice looking Demogorgon cover on the Stranger Things one. So that one looks awesome.
Archie's given us Riverdale. I'm not interested in that.
Nope.
Buffy and Firefly combo might have some interest
Absolutely.
to those folks. I agree with you on the Stranger Things and Black Hammer, though. And I'm interested in the DC's Top Secret thing, but not from a spec standpoint, I would assume.
Just seeing what they're doing, essentially.
Yeah, you never know. There might be some specability in there.
There you go.
There's a Turtles book.
The Road to TMNT 100.
And it is Kevin Eastman doing the writing.
Oh yeah, Deadly Class. They just released episode number 1. You can actually watch it for free on YouTube, and it looks amazing. I have to jump on it. It just hit yesterday, and I haven't had time. So go look up Deadly Class's first episode on YouTube, because it looks really freaking good. Or if you have Sci-Fi Channel, it's on that.
Oh, it is on the Sci-Fi Channel as well.
Yep.
Just the first issue, or did they release them all?
First episode. Yep, just the first.
Okay. Did I say issue?
I do the same thing. No worries there.
Then we have an Avengers Free Comic Book Day from Marvel. Might be interesting. Doctor Who, not interested in that. About the 13th Doctor, but your mileage may vary.
There you go.
We've got Tokyo Pop doing something, Dizzy's New Fortune. I'm not interested in that. Valiant's Bloodshot.
Descendants by Disney. I think they've done some straight to Disney Channel DVD or essentially episodes of these. It's kind of a neat premise on that, so my kid will probably like that, so I'll snag that up.
Yeah. Passing on the Bloodshot.
Tim Seeley.
He's not been great lately.
All right.
Interceptor from Vault. This is written by Donny Cates.
Yes.
Doing Vault comics. So this is one that I'm really interested in. Also, Daniel Warren Johnson's doing some art. We've got Dylan Burnett in the interiors. This one is one I'm going to get multiple copies of.
Yes, stocko on that beast.
We have a Pokemon book. from Viz.
From Viz, so it's,
Yeah.
you got to read it backwards.
Yeah. From Aftershock, we've got something called Animosity Tales. This is a Marguerite Bennett book with a cover by Raphael de la Tour and art by the same guy, plus some help from a couple other people with complicated names. But it's from the world of Animosity, so it's like a third spinoff for Animosity. I don't feel like there's any spec value here.
Probably not, but it looks like it's a completely different perspective. I don't see any blood. We might be a little more cutesy. It says it's kind of a dark comedy. It might be. It's intriguing.
From Ahoy Comics, we have Dragonfly and Dragonfly Man #1. People are enjoying their launches for the most part. I'm hearing good things about those books. So this might be something. It's got a Jamal Igle cover. Might be something to grab one for sure. I think Grumble versus the Goon from Albatross Funny Books. This, the free comic book is going to have the largest print run of any Albatross Funny book ever released, probably, because they all have low print runs.
Yeah.
But it is Eric Powell, and he did the cover. It's probably worth grabbing one at least.
Oh snap! Punchline's a free comic book.
Yeah. This one is from Antarctic Press. It's a reprint of Punchline #1, which is spiking in value. So this is a version of that #1. So I would say this is something you go heavy on, right? You try to get multiples of these.
Yeah, if you get the chance.
Because you're not going to find that first issue
Floating
because
anywhere.
there's not very many out there. But I do think that's going to dilute the market for those others as well, maybe.
Yep, you might want to sell now.
Yeah. We've got Go Fish from Arcana. It's a very young-looking book, not for me, but for good for kids. Benitez Productions doing a Lady Mechanica. I don't tend to gravitate towards those. I don't like those as much. Got a Lumberjanes from Boom. Nothing there. Captain Canuck is doing one from Chapter House. Not that interested. What about a Minecraft book?
Heck yeah, I was thinking that would be that's an untapped resource.
But it's combined with Incredibles 2. So does that
For the free book, it's combined with Incredibles 2. But if they're looking to start a Minecraft series, I think that's a good entry into some kids. Granted, there's Minecraft on Netflix, there's Minecraft on every device ever created, but still, they're able to do some neat things with storytelling in those Minecraft worlds.
And we haven't seen a Minecraft comic before, have we?
Correct.
So yeah, it could be something there. Yet another DC top secret book. So we'll see what's going to be happening in that. Could be something interesting. You should probably grab one.
There you go.
Drawn and Quarterly doing a little Lulu. Bob's Burgers, which I've seen a couple episodes. It's kind of funny. I get it, but
you have to get one of those for your daughter.
Yeah, I definitely will. It's from Dynamite, so I'll grab one.
Christopher Priest with Vampirella Zero 50th anniversary.
Another one that I don't get, but people seem to like.
Yeah.
Epicenter Comics is doing something called Zagor the Alien Saga. I don't like the title, but Epicenter Comics is very small. I don't know much about them. I don't know much about Guido Nolito or Galliana Ferri or Michelle Rubini, who are the creative team.
Well, just what do you know, Drew?
I know nothing about this except, just grab one, check it out, maybe. My favorite thing is Monsters from Fantagraphics. This is an award-winning, best-selling, award-winning graphic novel.
Sorry, the full title is Our Favorite Thing is My Favorite Thing is Monsters.
Ah, okay. This is an excerpt, I guess. from Volume 2 that's coming out. So if you haven't read Volume 1, I don't know if this will work for you. But if you can't get enough of that book, here's a little sneak peek at what's coming out. Yeah, Golden Apple's doing Blastosaurus Annual. I don't know if that's for me. Graphic India's doing Cristiano Ronaldo's Striker Force.
There you go.
Like
Take
the soccer
your favorite
guy?
soccer star and plug him in.
All right. Graphics is doing Wolfie Monster and the Big Bad Pizza Battle.
Pass.
Humanoids is doing H1 Ignition. And this is a Mark Waid written book with Kwanzaa Asayefo and Carla Speed McNeil all working on the writing, with Philip Briones on art and a Yannick Paquette cover. Yes, please.
There's way too many people to be writing a sample free issue.
It does seem like a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know enough about. Oh, this is a new universe they're starting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got it. Well, I mean, if this is for first appearances and things, you never know.
Yeah, possible.
Probably got to pick this up. IDW is doing a Star Wars Adventure, Droid Hunters. Image is doing a Spawn reprint of #1.
That's cool. You got to get that. You get a free Matina cover.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Kodansha Comics is doing an all-ages manga sampler. Might be fun.
Sure.
Lion Forge is doing a sheet story from writer-artist Brenna Thumler. A new original story takes place after the events of Sheets, which I didn't read. But it's more all ages.
There you go.
Good for you girls. I think it says it's girls. All the girls in 7th grade have their ears pierced. And that's not I'm not the audience for that. There's a Free Comic Day Spider-Man book coming out from Marvel.
Hey.
Let's see. New England Comics is doing The Tick. Oni Press is doing Ghost Hog from writer-artist Joey Weiser. I always like the Oni books.
Mm-hmm.
Random House for young readers is doing Lucy and Andy Neanderthal, Big and Bolder. Art style looks pretty cool. Writer-artist Jeffrey Brown. Red 5 Comics is doing The Dark Age. Writer Don Hanfield and Scott Chitwood. Art by Rod Thornton and Leonardo Rodriguez.
That one looks interesting.
It does look interesting. Scout Comics is doing Midnight Sky. Written by James Pruitt and art by Scott Van Domelen. Also looks pretty interesting. Source Point Press is sending out Hope #1, written by Dirk Manning with art by Kaylin Smith, which I like the looks of it too. Explain. Okay, what's the Starburns thing again?
Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon. Okay, he's not involved in this unless he's one of the various
it's
people.
his company, but he doesn't seem to
His
be
company.
individually involved with any of the writings.
His sensibility, maybe his sense of humor, possibly.
Yeah, so he wants to put his clout behind.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a Free Comic Book Day of Starburns Presents.
Yep.
Then a Robotech from Titan.
Heck yeah, I'm in.
And a Street Fighter from Udon.
Ooh, Sakurai versus Karin.
And a Kino's Journey from Vertical Comics.
Mm-hmm.
My Hero Academia, which is very popular anime.
Yeah, it's the big thing right now. It's the new One Punch Man at the moment.
Malika Fire and Frost from Unique Studios.
That is some good looking art.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, person whose name I can't even attempt to say.
Comic Book Legal Defense Fund always puts out a Defend Comics Free Comic Book Day. This one's written by Nathan Hale. There's an Overstreet for me because Kyle doesn't like Overstreet.
Overseas Guide to Collecting Comics. Drew, you got to start somewhere, so why not here?
Yeah, to teach me everything I need to know about organizing my comics.
There you go.
So yeah, tons of good stuff this year. It looks like a really good crop of books.
Oh yeah.
So basically what you got to do for Free Comic Book Day is on May the first Saturday in May is go out to your local comic shop. Unless you are a Cowabunga Comics subscriber, and then you can pick the comics that you want from Free Comic Book Day, and they will send them to you. You don't even have to go out. You don't have to leave the house. So in the show notes will be a link to get on the FOC mailing list, and I think that gets you on the order form list too. But if not, Eric's email is on there, and you can reach out to him as well. It's and ask him to get on the order form list so that you can make sure that you're guaranteed some of these cool Free Comic Book Day books.
Very cool.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I want a lot of those, Kyle.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice stuff there.
I mean, I probably should venture out to a comic shop too. That is the deal, but it's a long drive.
And the closest one to us does not partake.
Yeah. There's some bad news, Kyle.
What's that, sir?
No FOC this week.
No FOC.
Not
apparently,
that
I picked the worst week in the history to take off because apparently we had a double-sized FOC last week, and I blew it.
Yeah. That's what all the listeners and I have been saying.
You've been corresponding. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yep. That's what we've been talking about.
All right.
But we do. It's not that we didn't get an FOC. There just wasn't an FOC this week. So,
yeah.
And like the sneak peek you will see in a second, the sneak peek is also paltry this week.
Oh, no.
So we better take a quick look at those. We can probably talk about every single thing coming out.
Gotcha. Drew, let's start where we love to start, with the two items in Image.
Well, they're both good. Die number 6. I'm loving this series. This has really been fun. It's the showrunner, whose name escapes me. What's his name? Scott Gimple and Robert Kirkman with Chris Burnham. Beautiful Chris Burnham art. And it's a fun story. A little gory.
Still not being solicited?
Still not being solicited. I haven't looked at the order form that's due in a couple of days, so I probably need to take a look at that and see if it's in there, but I don't think it is. Got Man-Eaters. Number 4 is a Chelsea Kane book. Kate Nimzik on the art. This cover is by Leah Metternich. It's been a fun coming-of-age story about... I'll let you check into that.
A Boy's Guide to Dangerous Cats.
Yeah, it's been fun though. I've liked it. I thought it's been really well done. And this is issue 4, so it's not that far into it. That's all I have from Image, because that's all they have.
Dark Horse, sir. Hellboy and BPRD 1956, issue 2 of 5.
Yeah. There you go.
Written by both Chris Roberson and Chris Roberson.
Now in IDW, we have the second issue of GoBots with a retro cover, and then kind of a newer style cover, which I kind of like the cover B a little better, I guess. I probably should be predisposed to liking the retro cover, but I'm not.
I actually hate both covers, but just FYI.
And then there's an IDW Marvel Avengers book. So again, they don't want to do kids comics, so they're letting IDW do it. I'm not the audience for this, but I hope it does well. It's a number 1. Any chance that this is a hit? And
there's always a
Spikes?
chance, but I doubt it.
Oh yeah, I doubt it too.
DC, they're all big books.
DC are just trades. So we got a Batman Beyond trade, a Green Arrow, War of the Clans trade, a Nightwing Volume 7 trade, The Bleeding Edge, and a Superman Rebirth Deluxe Collector's Hardcover Book 3. So Marvel looks to be the one that's really putting out the most, and it's 4 books. So they're doing Fantastic Four number 5, which is also the 650th issue of Fantastic Four. Plus, it's got the masthead honoring Stan Lee. So there's no. So those have looked really cool. I don't know if you've been to the comic shop or seen the Stan Lee tribute mastheads, but I don't think the artists knew ahead of time they were happening. So like they had designed their covers with the way the Marvel covers would look normally, So the negative space was where the Marvel is usually in the upper left and everything, and so some of them look like it was made perfectly
like
for the
Superior
masthead.
one.
And then some of them are like, it doesn't really fit right, but they all look pretty nice. Yeah, and so we got a Superior Spider-Man number 1, and they're saying it's a Spider-Geddon tie-in, but Spider-Geddon's over.
It's classic Marvel, Drew. Classic Marvel.
So I guess this is springing forth from what happened in Spider-Geddon. You can't really tie into an event that's over. I don't think. Can you?
In the wake of, who knows?
Yeah, I guess you can. And I wonder if it was supposed to come out before the series ended. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm interested in this. Christos Gage, who did the Spider-Geddon series, is doing the writing, and I think he did a good job with Spider-Geddon. Mike Hawthorne, Wade Von Grawbadger doing art chores, with a cover by Travis Charest. So I'm kind of interested in this. We've got a cool action figure variant for Uncanny X-Men number 7, the Blob, and I have not been loving Uncanny, so I'm actually, I think 4th issue just came out, and I think I'm done. I'll check back later.
Check back later.
We
and
do
see
have
Wolverine's still around.
Yeah, no kidding. X-Force number 1 is launching. This is written by Ed Brisson, who I love from Old Man Logan. And we've got art by Dylan Burnett, one on Ramirez, and a cover by Pepe Larraz. I might check this out. I don't normally like X-Force, I don't think, but I want to check this out and see what Ed Brisson's up to. So that's kind of like the meat of this week. What else we got? We got anything from Dynamite?
Just Mars Attacks 3.
Yeah, Mars Attacks 3. There you go. A lot of covers. They're all kind of cool and retro. And then from Boom, we have Bone Parish number 5. There's an FOC Crook Incentive variant that you probably could have got a while ago during an FOC period. The covers are all nice for this.
And then the first
Very
trade
cool.
to Bone Parish.
Yeah. Wow,
No.
do we have to pick 2?
No.
Do we each have to pick one?
Feel free to go to your LCS on December 26th. But don't run.
Oh, maybe just stay home. Spend time with your family. It is Boxing Day after all. You should be putting all the taking everything off the tree and getting ready for your New
There you
Year's
go.
party. So yeah, Superior Spider-Man might be one that you want to get out there and get. Maybe X-Force one as well. Other than that, I think the stuff you don't really need to go out to the comic book shop.
Don't forget your
You're
friends
good.
at the comic book shop. But as far as
You need to
speculation wise,
take a week off.
we good.
We are good. How'd we get 55
Yeah, we
minutes out of this show?
Friggin' drug it out. But we want to thank
Bring
you
us
for
home.
listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. Thank you for trying along with Drew and myself through the last week of 2018. A very, very thin and light week, but we appreciate you hanging in with us nonetheless. We will be back next week for our last time. We'll be talking and releasing a video in 2018 talking about the first week of January 2019 coming up. If you're able to find some gold in this here week and we missed it, feel free to drop a line to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, through our Gmail account. All this stuff can be found at comicsfunprofit.com. We want to thank you once again. So for Drew and for myself,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.